South India has long been at the heart of India's manufacturing story, from automobiles and electronics to electric mobility. Today, the sector is being reshaped by design, software, advanced engineering, and resilient supply chains. Electric mobility brings these strengths together, and others offers us a clear view of where Indian manufacturing is headed next. What will it take to move from assembly to technology ownership to deepening localization without slowing down innovation to build globally competitive products from India? To explore this very talking point, please welcome Chandra back to the stage. And joining her is an entrepreneur who has helped build one of India's leading electric two-wheeler companies from Bengaluru, with product innovation, software and manufacturing at its core. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tarun Mehta, the co-founder and CEO, Ather Energy, with a very warm round of applause.
Can we have a big round of applause for Tarun Mehta, the OG when it comes to EVs and deep tech in India. Tarun, thank you very much for joining us on the Rising Bharat platform here in Bengaluru. We've heard from ministers of many different states, and it's great to hear from an entrepreneur now, particularly one who saw success after many years. So do you feel vindicated today as the co-founder and CEO of Ather Energy? Your market share has steadily been rising. I think you're number 2 now in terms of EV market share. You concluded a very successful QIP a few days ago. So what does it feel like today?
Thank
After
you,
a 13-year journey?
13 years.
Yeah.
In the 13th year. Yeah. Thank you, Chandra. No, I think it's amazing. I think markets have been very kind to us. When we went IPO last year, when we IPO'd last year, a lot of the founder friends had told me that taking the company public, the most painful part is the road shows. Like meeting 100, 150, 200 investors and telling the same story again and again. We actually found that an amazing experience. We've really focused on making sure that we can explain and communicate what we are building, because there is a sense that India hasn't seen enough hardware companies come up through this kind of a grind. We understand manufacturing as how value gets created, but manufacturing is at the absolute fag end of a very long value chain, which starts first from IP, design, tons of engineering, productization, and then production. If you only go after production, that's just one aspect. You got to own the entire value chain. You got to own the tech and the design to really own the large part of the value capture there. Ather went through this journey as one of the first companies, and we were lucky to have gone public. So we feel, I think, doubly responsible to make sure we can explain to the markets, we can explain to the street, we can explain to investors why something like this can work in India, why you actually can build technology, standards, products, grounds up here and actually create phenomenal amount of value, not just good fun value, that gets sold in an M&A, but tremendous amount of public value. So we've been doing that a lot, and I think markets have been nice, kind. Customers have liked the new products that we have launched, and we're having a great time. We love building products. We continue building them.
Is it easier being a listed company than an unlisted company?
If you are a consumer brand, I think it's definitely helpful to be listed. Governance standards go up, but we had 3 sovereign investors even when we were private. So we were already quite used to the idea of fairly high reporting standards and governance requirements. In a way, I used to joke that we are paying the price of being a private company while running this like a public company. So we should just go public as soon as possible. And it's definitely helped. I can see that for a lot of our suppliers, a lot of our dealers, the brand is a lot more respectable, trustable brand because it's public. For a lot of our customers also, because India now has such a healthy public market participation, the fact that you're public is screaming that, you are a reliable brand suddenly. So I think it's better to be public after a certain stage.
Got it. As the CEO of Ather Energy today, what does most of your bandwidth go towards? Is it still design, product, new launches that excite you, or is it just the scale-up part? I mean, you already have a factory in Hosur, and you will be inaugurating your second factory in Maharashtra, in a few months from now, which will double your capacity to 77,000 units a month. So which aspect of Ather excites you today? Where do you spend most of your time in?
I still like to spend most of my time in crafting the product story. We do these annual events every year where we take something as simple as a scooter and we talk about it for 2 hours on stage. 2 years ago, we had launched our family scooter, and I remember we launched Rista, and we launched something that I called the Thela. We launched something called Thela for about 5 minutes on stage. It was a carry bag. It was such a beautiful design. I think there are so many stories that we get to tell, and it's such an amazing opportunity because there's so few brands that want to tell stories in India. So hands down, the most exciting part for me is crafting these stories out, bringing them out, telling them to the consumers, participating in the design aspect of this. And the scale up is the final payout. Like, this is the stuff that you enjoy, but the scale up is the final payout. It would not be fun if you do all of it for 500 units a month. It is very satisfying to see, 30, 40, 50,000 customers wanting to buy it. But the really fun part is the design and the product building part. So that still is what I probably enjoy the most.
Right. Talking about, your annual event, the Community Day, and you're gearing up for that end of August. You're also launching a new mass market electric scooter at a price point of about, I think, 1 lakh to 1.2 lakh. What's that going to do for Ather? It's also being launched on your new EL platform.
Right. So, we started our journey right at the top of the pyramid. Our first product that sort of hit some scale was priced at 1,65,000.
The premium
Ather 450. And we've been able to take prices higher over the last few years. Our next product, Rista, was priced in the 1.3 to 1.5 lakh rupee bracket, and that quadrupled our sales. Today, roughly about half of the electric scooter industry is in the 1 to 1.2 lakh rupee range, and Ather has no products there. But there's a lot of demand that we're getting out of that space. Today, we are present in about 700 stores in the country, and particularly as we go towards Western and Northern India, the pull for that price point is very high. So we wanted to build something for that price point, and we did not want to build by just stripping specs down. It's not a great experience. So we built a complete new platform that took us many years, and we're gearing up for the first product on that new platform. We think electric vehicles are becoming extremely mainstream now. What the government's been talking about, electrifying cooking, electrifying transport, I think that message has really landed. I think the average customer is really concerned about the fact that petrol is no longer a reliable commodity. I heard a very funny statement once in one of the recent researches we were doing. Until even 1 year ago, even the most fanboy electric vehicle owners would say कि यार घर में एक petrol गाड़ी तो होना चाहिए, right? You need one backup, right? We can have an electric car, electric scooter, everything, but one petrol car you still need. Recent thing I heard a few months ago is, somebody in an interview saying, घर में एक electric vehicle तो होना चाहिए, right? Because it's so, people are genuinely so afraid. It's not about price. It's not about the fact that, petrol's gone up 5, 7, 10 rupees. It's the fact that, listen, what if petrol is not available tomorrow? Courtesy social media, all of us are suddenly, very aware that India has 20 days of reserves and stuff. Nobody knew that 30 years ago. Now we know it. So now we know it. We've got to flex that knowledge, right? So we are all becoming extremely afraid about the fact that petrol may not be available. So it's making electric vehicles really mainstream. If electric vehicles are going mainstream, we need to be present across all price points. We think we built a great brand. We want to just now be present across multiple segments. That's what the launch is all about.
Got it. And so this will basically eat into, like if I look at your ICE competitors, your Activa, Access, that segment.
Yeah, we call them Aajka scooters because they've been honestly the most successful scooters in our country. Fantastic products. And if we want to go mainstream, we obviously want to, that has to be the aspiration. We've got to convince that customer that buying electric is a better alternative. So yes, for us, building and selling this new platform, this new scooter is our attempt at going fully mainstream now.
Got it. Tarun, I want to focus a bit on the policy front now. Now, there is no doubt that one of the enabling factors in, boosting EV or mainstreaming it were government policies from FAME 1 to FAME 2 and the PM e-Drive, which, has also benefited companies like Ather. But one aspect of policy that you have been very critical of in the past is the auto PLI, because it has excluded startups like yourself, like, River, Euler, and so on, because they did not meet a certain revenue threshold, net worth threshold. But on the contrary, many of the innovations that we have seen in EV, whether it comes to, battery management, vehicle software, etc., have come from the new crop of startups. Now, you have had multiple meetings with the Heavy Industries Minister, H.D. Kumaraswamy. What's the sense that you're getting? Do you think the government will rethink how this auto PLI is structured? Do you still need the benefits of auto PLI? You seem to be doing so well.
No, I think getting excluded out of automotive PLI is a pretty big thing because it's essentially 16% cashback that our competitors are getting.
But you're
essentially, as a country, we are sending money back to legacy players who are tremendously well-funded and don't need more money to build an electric vehicle. But startups who are really pushing the envelope, who are really the first ones, who are really leading on the R&D side, on the capex side, think of the large capacity enhancements that have happened since auto PLI has gone live. And Ather will probably be one of the largest ones out there. So if the purpose of auto PLI was to create new capacity, create jobs, spur R&D and investments in R&D, I think it's startups that have led this entire cycle. And the funny thing is, automotive PLI actually wanted to do all of this. If you see the auto PLI policy, it actually has a section for new companies. It had a revenue threshold of 10,000 crores for existing players, but for new companies, there was a policy available. It's a quirk of the policy where they said that if you are an existing company, you should have 10,000 crores of revenue. Fine.
And if you're a startup,
makes
you
sense.
should have zero.
If you are a new company, you should have zero revenue. Sounds right until you realize, but what if you sold one vehicle? You have 1 lakh rupee revenue. Oh, then you are an established company. Please come once you have 10,000 crores. It makes no sense. This quirk of the policy is why lot of, almost all startups have got accidentally excluded, which is the point that we've been trying to bring up to policymakers. And to be fair, every policymaker that we met across the spectrum completely get it, that this seems insane. This is not the intention of this policy. Probably why auto PLI hasn't seen the traction that it should have seen, because it's otherwise a fantastic policy. So our argument has been simple, that please expand this. You need startups. If electric vehicles industry is a train, imagine this is a train, you need, the existing legacy players are all the bogies, right? You need the bogies, you need their capacity, you need their network, you need their distribution. But there is no reason for an existing automotive company, a ICE legacy player, to go and disrupt their 30% gross margin business to sell an electric vehicle. The only reason they are forced to do it is because a startup comes around, challenges them, and does not die. That's when a legacy player is forced to say, God damn it, now I've got to also respond, we can also do it. Amazing, and that's the best outcome for the country. Startups force legacy players to fight the good fight. Startups are the engine for this train. The bogies won't go anywhere if you cut the engine out and say, ki bogies ko paisa deta hun, they will build electric vehicles. They will not have the incentive to build an electric vehicle.
Where do you what do you see happening next?
I can't predict that. Our job is to,
What are you
Karam Kar
hoping
and
for?
Fal
What
ki
are you
chinta mat
hoping
kar and
for?
all. Our job is to basically bring the issue up, help policymakers see the upside of expanding the policy to cover genuine startups, ones who are truly investing and creating scale. And we hope that, people are able to make this solution emerge.
Right. Deep tech also seems to have, reached an inflection point in India. The government has a 1 lakh crore RTI fund. We are seeing many good success stories. Will you be looking at the RTI fund in some form to, fund your own deep tech initiatives? How are you thinking about it?
I think RDI has been a spectacular success by the government. It's rare to see a policy land so correctly and so rapidly in India. 1 lakh crore is a huge corpus. Aimed at R&D is the perfect thing to focus on. And I think they've selected a fantastic group of early companies to back. In fact, Ather is one of them. We've been also one of the early recipients of the RDI low interest loan. And it's coinciding really well with the timeline of, when deep tech startups are just absolutely exploding. I think in my 13 years of running Ather, I've never met so many deep tech entrepreneurs, hardware entrepreneurs as in the last 18 months. Like the first 11 and a half years and the last 1.5 years is probably comparable.
And this is across EVs, space tech,
everything.
tech.
There's so much action happening in drones and defense and obviously electric vehicles and energy, batteries, space tech, production, like equipment design, process design. There's just tremendous amount of activity, and it's for a change, not activity that is driven by VC interest, right? Like let's be honest, we are in Bangalore. A lot of the startups that are born and grow successfully are ones which are on the right side of what VCs want to fund, right? And it's just nature. But most of the deep tech startups that are emerging today, I'm very proud to see they're not coming up, because a VC found them fashionable. So VCs are now forced to figure out what's so freaking fashionable about them, right? What's so good about them. And luckily companies like us and many others now going public, generating returns, is creating an argument that, listen, this model can work. Investing for 5 years, like Ather was born in 2013. We launched our first product in 2018. We had our first positive gross margin in 2021, right? 8 years after launch. But we went from like maybe 200 crores to like 3,000-4,000 crores in a matter of 4 years. So I think, and this is not special about us. It's inherent to how hardware companies work, how they scale. So I think now there are multiple models for investors to look at, and hopefully many hardware companies will bloom.
Right. Final couple of questions, Tarun. Will Ather ever make cars?
It's a very hard business with not much of a margin. Our industry has very successful, famous players who've been picky about margins. We'll only build a car if we have something new to build. Life is too short. We don't want to be the 11th player manufacturing electric cars. If we have a new idea, we'll build. Otherwise, no.
How many Ather scooters do you own?
We have 3. Yeah, 3 at home.
No other brands?
Oh, we used to have a petrol scooter, but we sold it off.
Okay, great. On that note, thank you very much for talking to us, Tarun. Here's wishing you the best.